That morning was unlike any other morning that Sudanese people were accustomed to. Following a night of devotion and prayer to Allah in the holy month of Ramadan, eagerly awaiting the joyous celebration of Eid. However, there was another part brewing in the dark, overshadowing the entire Sudanese nation. On the morning of April 15, 2023, the capital awoke to a calamity that even the most pessimistic people could not have foreseen. A nightmare beyond imagination. Khartoum exploded like a massive pool of flames as the enraged faces of the Rapid Support Forces militia scattered across Khartoum seized and ravaged the entire city. The Rapid Support Forces ignited war within the cities and neighborhoods, forcing civilians to live in the cruelest and most heinous model, violating all social norms, human decency, international human rights laws that explicitly emphasize the respect and preservation of human dignity and the noble right to life for women, children, and the elderly among innocent civilians. Their crimes targeted all segments of society, including the disabled, without mercy or conscience. Those who survived the massacres, continuous bombings, arrests, and systematic killings of regime affiliates, armed forces, and police and public servants in government and influential private facilities were forced to witness the cold-blooded mass murder of their families.
كان مسك رجليني يقعد ناوم
جات عربية بتاع الدعم سريع هددوني بالسلاح قال لي إلا تركبي.
لقونا ناس من الدعم السريع ب6 أنفار ولا 7 أنفار في الشارع، فقاموا سألونا نادونا، فقام يغتصبني وهددني بالسلاح وقام رماني لناس البرة.
أرعبونا، دعموا اقتحموا البيت،
دخلوا ويفتشوا، نزلوا الهدوم في الدواليب كلها، كسروا الدواليب، لسه السراير دي كسروها.
دعمونا، سرقوا بيتنا.
In the early hours following the onset of Khartoum War or Khartoum tragedy, after the criminal Rapid Support Forces took control of the military barracks and indulging in the looting and brutality against those inside it, it became evident and unmistakable that a systematic and planned project to destroy civilian facilities affecting people's lives, such as water and electricity stations in all provinces and localities of the capital, telecommunications infrastructure, the demolition of bridges, and the establishment of checkpoints and fortifications on many routes was underway.
وظفوهم خلهم باقي الكباري القعدات، كبري جبل أولياء وكبري السلاح الطبي وكبري الحلفاية، ديل كلهم إن شاء الله ينقلهم إن شاء الله في الأيام المقبلة دي في خبركان.
Unable to evacuate due to these constraints, civilians were forced to suffer humiliation, looting, beating, arrests, and their use as human shields and guides. Even places of worship and learning were not spared, as mosques and churches fell victim to theft, looting, destruction, humiliation, and the arrest of imams, preachers, and priests.
يجيب المفتاح، قلت له المفتاح في البيت، قال لي انتوا بيتك وين؟ قلت له الحمد لله. قال لي افتح. فتحت دخلت اديته المفتاح بتاع العربيه، قال لي جيب قروشك. قلت له يا ولدي انا ما عندي قروش، انا زول موظف يعني. قال لي يا مصر هيك انا حسبك تركينا وبقفل عليك.
Schools and universities, both public and private at all levels and branches, witnessed destruction beyond repair. They were transformed into military bases and detention camps, looting all their movable assets, destroying their buildings, halls, faculty residences, and student dormitories, continuing the systematic destruction during their cursed and sinful war. The Rapid Support Forces militia targeted cultural and scientific institutions that are supervised and supported by international organizations such as UNESCO and ISESCO. They looted the National Museum, museums of natural history, and set ablaze the Central Natural Archives, which represent the living history of the Sudanese nation. Additionally, they occupied radio and television buildings, the National Theatre, and all cultural and media institutions, destroying their documents, recordings, and material heritage.
هذا ديدننا نحن كقوات الدعم السريع معروفين بالقتال والشراسة والبسالة.
ماشي يعني هسه الدعم السريع ده المفروض يمشي يدوك مستشفى النو ده. هسه مستشفى النو بتاع ام درمان ده ما كل الفلول قاعدين فيه، كل الجرحى بتاعين الفلول تم اخلاؤهم من ام درمان قاعدين في مستشفى النو. انت قال لك نحن ما عارفينك؟ ما عارفينكم قاعدين في مستشفى النو ويمشي يدقوكم هناك.
In a heinous violation and a challenge to international humanitarian norms, their most despicable and degrading target was healthcare facilities. They occupied health facilities, hospitals, and pharmacies that provide treatment and emergency care to civilian casualties. The forces emptied them of patients, removing life-saving oxygen masks from intensive care units. They also targeted women in maternity hospitals, throwing them into the streets with no care, concern, or fear of divine or human punishment, or otherwise following the orders of killing the mothers or their newborn babies before their eyes.
الاسم منصف خالد محمد ناصر، العمر 14 سنة.
عسكري تابع للدعم السريع، عمري 16 سنة. عمري 16 عسكري تابع للدعم السريع.
In another direction of even greater atrocity and deviance of the norms of truth, justice, and fairness, the Rapid Support Forces invaded prisons and police stations, demolishing them and releasing those sentenced to death or in life imprisonment. These included murderers, thieves, roadblockers, habitual criminals, and lawbreakers. The released criminals were then recruited, armed, and protected, reaching a number exceeding 35,000 prisoners sentenced judicially and 25,000 detainees under investigation for serious criminal offenses, including the rape of minors. These criminals became cornerstone for their expert actions in looting, robbing, breaking, raping, and assassinating.
طيب انتوا يا شباب العدد كبير جدا، احنا تخوفنا قلنا الحاصل شنو؟ ورينا الحاصل شنو يا علي؟
بس الدعم السريع فكونا من السجن.
سجن وين؟
سجن سوبر.
They also became an integral part in infiltrating most banks, markets, and businesses. They imposed protection fees, emptied markets of goods and essential supplies, and set them ablaze in cities like Omdurman, Bahri, East Nile, Khartoum, and Umbadda.
لا تشادي يعني.
تشادي. اسمي محمد ناصر علي يحيى من اليمن.
Get in the free market.
The crimes of the Rapid Support Forces did not confine themselves to the central region, but extended to various regions of Sudan involving terror, killing, looting, mutilation, and racial extermination. This was particularly evident in the state of West Darfur in the city of Jenaina, where the militia carried out genocide against its people, burying innocent civilians alive and altering the demographics with ethnicities from various corners of the African continent. They fantasize about establishing the kingdom of Janjaweed, akin to the modern-day Hexas, with the Rapid Support Forces acting as a raising and nurturing force.
يا اخوانا مسألة دي بدأت من 95 شهر 8 الحريق والقتل ناس في بيوتهم. احنا اتكلمنا كلامنا في المركز. أنا ما قاعد أتكلم سياسة لكن قاعد أتكلم واقعي.
The murder of the governor of West Darfur, Khamis al-Bakr, one of the signatories of the Juba Peace Agreement, and the mutilation of his body stands as one of the irrefutable documented pieces of evidence of their atrocities, deviations from human actions, and a historical turning point that humanity shies away from since its existence on Earth. This is a shameful stain on the face of humanity, as many other civilian administrative leaders were killed or eliminated, and those remaining were coerced into seeking support and protection from their own kind through a barbaric war sparing none.
كلك الناس ديل ما عارف اغتصبوا قتلوا سرقوا شالوا حق الناس وما عارف. يا اخي سلام عليك، ده حقنا شلنا كويس معك، ده حقنا شلنا تمام. واغتصب ما اغتصب، انت مش اغتصب لك اخوك ولا اغتصب لك بنتك ما تديني تدار. البلد دي بلدنا وده حقنا وشلناه، ودايرنا احنا في الميدان نكفح ونمسح نركب ابوها الابدال. تعالنا في الميدان وسيب الحاصل شنو.
They continue to grind the mill of war, unleashing their malevolence across all regions without restraint, deterrence, or governance. They violate and scorn all international laws and declare documented norms that all nations have agreed upon. Will the moral of crimes of the Rapid Support Forces in their encroachment on the sovereignty of state become a precedent to be followed worldwide, turning a blind eye and tolerating their crimes without punishment, especially in the regional countries that rest on mountains of gunpowder and magma ready to erupt? Will these runaway criminal militia become a substitute for organized armies and civil systems that manage administration and establish fair balances? These questions define the purpose and fate of balanced and transparent international systems, laws, and relationships. Those who know no punishment will misbehave, for whoever feels secure from punishment is inclined to misconduct.
نطالبكم السيد الرئيس والمجتمع الدولي باعتبار هذه القوات والمجموعات المتحالفة معها مجموعات إرهابية ارتكبت كل الجرائم التي تضعها في هذا التصنيف، وضرورة التعامل الحاسم مع من يدعمها، فالقتل والحرق والاغتصاب والتهجير القسري والنهب والسرقة والتعذيب ونقل الأسلحة والمخدرات واستجلاب المرتزقة وتجنيد الأطفال، جرائم تستوجب المحاسبة والعقاب.